there, it turns green up at the top, see?
Oh, okay.
And when you turn it off, it turns red and then goes black.
Okay. Thank you.
That way you can hear yourself over the recordings, okay? And go, ooh, who's that voice? I do that all the time. When I hear my voice on the tape, oh, cringe. That's why I hate to make recordings on the voicemail, because of my voice. When I play it back to see if I've got it, which reminds me I've got to do that tonight. Because I won't be in the office tomorrow, that's my regular day, and then Thursday I'm driving Teresa up to Columbus for a cemetery complaint, for a cemetery review committee on a complaint
We're ready.
about the cemetery,
Did you start it?
for what it's worth.
Okay, let's do it.
Say the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Meeting,
of the
United States of America
2019.
and to the republic for which it stands,
Roll call,
one
please.
nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Meeting,
of the
United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Township Board of Trustee minutes dated September 24th, 2019 is written.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a
Motion to approve
the listing from 9/25/2019 to 10/8/2019. Payment number 704-2019 through 747-2019, and then 776-2019. Warrant number 9501 through 9507, 9508, and 9509 are void. 9510 through 9514, 9515 and 9516 are void. The 9518,
1-7.
or I'm sorry, 9517 through 9539 for a total of $99,873.14.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, before I go to the audience, we have Brandstetter and Carroll here tonight. If you'd like to go ahead and see if that mic's on.
It is. It should,
I forgot.
well, no, maybe it isn't. I forgot. I thought I left it in.
Yes.
I think all of you have a copy of the bid tabulation from the bids last, or 2 weeks ago.
It is in your packet.
It's in our packet.
I've got a couple copies here.
Got it.
Chief, can you tip that mic up because it wasn't picking him up?
Now?
That's better.
That's
Okay.
better.
Thanks.
All right. You have a bid tabulation form in front of you. We took bids for the fire station 2 weeks ago today, and as you can see from your bid tabulation sheet, we received 6 bids that we received as, I would say, responsive bids, and 1 bid which was not responsive. And the low bidder, the bid form, we were asking for several things on this bid form. If you go to your 6th column over, the total construction bid is the number that we're looking at. That is the total bid for the entire project. What we tried to do in the other 5 columns was offer other bidders an opportunity to bid subcontracts that would hopefully reduce the price of the building without paying a general contractor markup and overhead. And you can see only 1 bidder broke out their bid, but they were not the low bidder. Empire Building Company is the low bidder in the amount of $852,000. And the numbers to the right in the red are items that we entertained looking at, and again, in order to reduce the total number for the project. And we were looking at replacing the windows with vinyl windows, not doing the plumbing, not doing the HVAC, and coming back and doing that through the resources of Morgan Township. But we've decided, and then the total number on the right-hand side would be the total number of the alternates subtracted from the total construction bid. We have recommended to Chief Galloway that we not take any of the alternates, that we accept the total construction bid. And I also need to explain to you that within that $852,000 is a $50,000 contingency to be used for anything that happens if we run into bad soil, if we have issues, uncover some things that we don't know about in the existing building. But that money can only be spent upon authorization of this group. So technically, the contract for construction is $802,000, but it just has that built-in $50,000 contingency.
Do all the contractors have that?
Every
contingency built in?
contractor has that in his bid, yes, sir. Empire Building Company was the low bidder, as I said before. We worked with Empire, but it's been quite a few years ago, so we did due diligence and got some references on them, talked to a couple people that they've worked for, and they were all satisfied with their work. Got one report, their paperwork was not as good as somebody would have liked it, but that's kind of a common problem dealing with a lot of contractors, so that doesn't upset us to any way, shape, or form. The key question was, would you hire them again for another project? And everybody responded positively, yes, that they would do that. So at this point, we're recommending that a contract be executed with Empire for this work, depending on your approval.
Got one question on,
Sure.
you're talking about on the alternate, if you look at the Empire Building, I'm just picking one out, on the alternate number 3, there's 27,500, and you recommended selecting, excluding all alternates.
Yes, sir.
Is that an alternate for an alternate strategy on construction, where there could be something altered and it's not designed, that 27.5 could be saved on that?
No, it wouldn't be saved. You would have to, that was for the plumbing
I think his battery died.
total
Oh,
construction.
oh, okay.
So if you took that alternate, you have no plumbing in the building.
I think your battery died.
Yeah, I think so too.
What,
Hang on just a second.
It's not your fault.
I just dropped that. I can get it. I just dropped that. Yes, this has happened before.
It's a new system and we're learning it.
So I won't be dropping the mic when I leave here.
It's a new system and
There you go.
okay, so getting back to what we were talking about, that, obviously, we would accept all the alternates. We wouldn't discard any of the alternates, because we want plumbing, we want electric, we want
Right.
everything else in the facility.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was, like I said, it was because we've been down this road before. We were trying to give any option that we could to get this thing to where it could be built. And so those were things that we were looking at that we might take out of the contract and try to do it on our own independently. But the reality is, this would be, I don't think the money is quite there to make that choice. I don't think there's that big of a saving.
What's up,
So
guys?
that's the primary reason that we're recommending that we not do that. That we keep the
I have
construction
some
intact.
great news for those
At
of
the-
you
At the
for
number that
OBS 24 is
Empire
an
has in there, that includes everything for the project to be built. It's everything except floor covering.
except for the
and
fact that
painting,
when
which
you
Chief
go to
Galloway has said he
MP4,
can take care of.
not only is it unready, many folks have been asking for this. You're probably one of them. If you
And
hit
it
start
includes the
recording,
generator,
look
correct.
at us who
Yes.
have the ability to go
And
ahead.
Chief, where were we on the top end for the project that we could fund with the the levy that we had?
So I'll hand these around. This is the amortization. We went for, when we talked and had Brenda Weimer in here from the Dinsmore and the bond, and then checked with the rating for the township, we qualified for $1 million. $1 million. So with this 852 will allow us to, if we used all 852 of it, it'll allow us about $148,000 to do the interior renovations that we're going to do in-house, making the 3 rooms back into a training room, expanding the rest of it, doing the kitchen, because that would all be exclusive because that's renovation. So buying the lockers is not in this, buying the lockers for the locker room. Redoing the load-bearing walls, which the 3 of you have said you want in that renovation part of the project. So the extra money that's left over from this bid to the $1 million that we approved will allow us to do all those additional renovations inside the existing station. If you figure that and the 852 and contingency comes back, we probably won't use all of that. But now I would like to explain while Mike and all's here. So what you have, the amortization schedule you have here was provided by LCMB and Lenore. So if you look at the very top and go all the way over to the 20-year, 3.65, when we started this project, it was 4.55. So with the interest rates dropping, so did the interest rate drop on the amortization. So that is dropped to 3.65. The bank that's fixed. Yes, Laura, that is fixed. It's because the whole amortization's here from one to the other, so it's fixed all the way through the 40 payments. Republic First National, who is doing the new squad, they gave us a slightly lower rate, but it was fixed for 10 years and then adjusted the other 10. I talked to Brenda Weimer, and she said that's kind of a cautious thing that she would be careful of because of not having something fixed and you don't know what happens in 10 years. The third option is, and we're still exploring this as we talked about a year ago when we started this project, is the USDA loan with USDA. I've not heard back yet from Flagler Emergency Grant Funding, who was working on that. However, Brenda had told me just last week on the phone that she's heard that the USDA, a lot of times now up front, and this is what we need to check, will require a couple of $100,000 out of our pocket first, and then they come back in and backfill and then do the loan. Versus where in this scenario with the amortization here, we start right from scratch with LCMB. So there's 3 scenarios. Of the 3 scenarios right now, this one is the best for the amortization of a fixed and net interest rate. Brenda would be here tonight. She said, I can be here tonight, but you kind of already started and did some of the paperwork with her already on the bond part of it, to just say if you approve the building and move forward, she can just do her thing and then work with the bank if this is the route that we go.
What was the other option that you said Ross used to build theirs?
So that was the land lease, and Brenda talked about that and kind of steered me away from that with some, that's the fixed 10 years first and then the other 10, and she said that brings some other issues that she explained to me that probably would not be the best if you're sitting here with something that's fixed from the start to the finish to the end. So with that, like I said, the interest rate went down from 4.55 when it was first quoted to the 3.65, which leaves then the amortization of the 35, which originally it was I think 38-something thousand to the 35,443 payments for that. Again, this project has gone around for really 2 years or better. Just another, I went over tonight and measured, it's like about 1,500 square feet that we're in now with the 4 people. So this will double it to 4,000 for the new addition, plus then retro back, and then we gain that space back in the old existing building of a training room and double the size of the day room and the kitchen, which is part of that 1,500 square foot. So with that being said, we actually I guess sometimes you can say third time is a charm because the prices came in, and including all of the, as Jeff pointed out, includes now the plumbing and the HV, because we originally wanted a shell price and came back in within the budget that we would ask for, completely finished with electric, plumbing, HV, AC, windows, everything, doors, everything complete except for just the minor things that we'll do with the painting and the floor covering that we'll do in-house.
Okay, I just want to clarify, these funds will be done with a bond through LC&B and through Brenda Weimer's organization. It's not going to be a levy that's tacked on anywhere. This is a bond, it's not a levy.
Right, and it comes out of the existing fire levy fund.
Right.
The payments will be made out of the existing fire levy fund, which it's, and I can read if you'd like, because this is actually the levy, the fire levy. The fire levy is for Morgan Township for the purpose of providing and maintaining fire apparatus, appliances, buildings, or sites thereof, sources of water supply. So it goes through all the stuff, but it does say in there that the levy, the fire levy can be used for the building, and that's what the intentions are on that, to make those payments and pay that down.
So what's the amortization for the $218,000?
So what'd you figure that for, the first column?
The first column was...
That was for the new squad,
No, the first, on this one?
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, no, these are spelled out. If you look at the top, it's 5-year, 10-year, 15, 20-year.
Right,
But it's 218,000. It was for the new squad.
That was for the new squad?
From Penn Care.
No, this came all direct. This totally came from...
Yeah, but this was LC&B's quote to do a loan for a squad.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Okay, all right.
I did not notice that because the last time he did it was just for the building, so I did not catch that. Okay, yeah, I did not catch that because last time he did it was all the columns were for the building. So
Is there any prepayment penalty?
I didn't ask Fred, but I can ask him that and email you all back to this.
I'm pretty sure when we talked about this over a year ago I'm pretty sure the question was asked and the answer was no, there is not,
Right.
but we do need to double check that.
I believe you're correct, but I would double check that.
Yeah,
I'm off tomorrow, but I'll check with Fred on Thursday.
Okay.
That was time with Jeff, and then they can let you all know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jeff, just out of curiosity, Republic was gonna fix it for 10 and then a variable. Was it gonna adjust every year or every 2, or how often was it gonna adjust? Did they tell you?
I didn't bring the language over here, but it
Okay.
was very difficult to even understand what they were talking about, and it was also built on that land lease where they kind of own the land and lease it back to us until we pay, and it was just kind of, it was confusing, and there was no guarantee, as Brenda had said, that, you know, that won't fluctuate in those for after the 10 years is up. So she steered me away from it just by, and you know how thorough she is when she's come here and taught. She was very thorough about, I would lean against that one, as well as the, you know, getting the real answers from USDA, if you choose to go that, of how much you have to put up front and pay into the project before they turn around and kick back in. So
But that's what Ross did, right? For the new firehouse?
they did the land lease. They didn't
Right.
do a USDA.
Yeah.
They did the land lease. Yeah. I don't know how long they did it for. I don't know what years and the length of years they did it for.
Okay.
That was, I want to say they did that 10 years ago. I think that building is 10 years old, if I remember talking to Chief Miller.
So Mike, what's timing now? We're going into winter.
Well, if this thing could get, what do you mean, it was 90 degrees last week?
I don't think we're gonna have any more then.
No, I think that the weather outside will tell you that. I think the intention would be to get this thing started and get it out of the ground, because once they get it out of the ground, get the footings in and the foundation, and they can work through the winter and just come back and put the brick facade probably on in the spring. But I would hope by, you know, late spring, you'd be in the building.
Okay.
And I think I talked to Mike, because Mike and I met last week. I think they were ready to be able to start.
Right.
Empire was ready.
Good.
So again, it's, you know, for the group that's out there and listening, the station that's current now was built in '93, 26 years ago, and it was built for volunteers. So if you take a look at the living space, it's 1,500 and, I have here somewhere, 1,544 square foot living space, and now there's 4 paid full-time firefighters that live in there. They live out of Tupperware and rubber totes with all their uniforms and sleeping because there's no lockers, no locker rooms. So it becomes a health and a safety issue when you cram that many people into that small environment. So this was a project that I kind of took on when I first got here in 15 and then started to make it happen in 2 years ago. We tried to go up because we have some open space up above, but when the building was originally built, they did not put load-bearing walls in. So you can't build up. So under the advisement of the trustees, it was like, let's go out. And that's where we've gotten to this point of going out from the building to the west.
This has been going on way more than 2 years.
Oh, more than 2 years. It's
Since
probably been on three or
at least
3.5.
Well, I've been here 4, and we were talking about it when I came.
That's true. That's true. Yep.
Keep going.
Yep. Yep.
So, not to rehash old things, but where do we stand on the decon room and all that? Do we have to do that, or is that out of the scope of the project now? And
Yeah, yes.
that is out of the
Yeah.
scope.
Yeah,
So
but
we're not required to do that, or what about a shelter area?
The shelter is in the project.
Okay, so that is built
The
into-
storm shelter is still in the project, yes, sir. Yeah, that's a code requirement these days.
So how much do you think it's going to cost to finish it? Flooring, cabinetry?
I met with Carter Building last week, going over the kitchen, the remodel of the entire kitchen, and basically doubling it to the size that it is now, because it's small. And the project was $16,000, which I thought was very reasonable for looking at the expansion of it. And then the load-bearing walls and things of that nature, I don't have those numbers on me, but that would be what we would do after the addition is completely done and we move over. The lockers, I got the quotes in there for lockers. I don't know what they are offhand, but then I would, flooring and all that is not going to be anywhere near that 148,000 that's left over in that. So I think that we'll have that gap there between this project and then if we do the million and then that we can pay down or no penalty, you know, if you pay some of that off. But I don't see it being I don't see it being over 148. The interesting thing would be is if we don't do any, and Mike and I talked about this, if we don't do any changes, I'm getting my calculator out here. If we don't do any changes and the contingency goes to 850, then you would have about 198. And
Right.
there's nowhere
We get the
close.
50,000
There's
back.
nowhere close to that would take the renovations of the interior to say that we would roll that back in and start paying that down quicker if there's no penalties to it, no prepayment penalties.
So
I
does
also
it-
caution the chief not to expect that, but I don't think you'll
Yeah.
spend the entire 50, but there
Yeah.
There will be
Yeah.
some.
there will be some.
Yeah, and I think Mike said the average is like 10 to 15,000 of maybe or something.
Yeah, I expect to be less than half of the contingency
Yeah.
that's in there.
Yeah.
So does this start out, Lenore, as a construction loan and they can make draws,
I think they're gonna set it up for the full
full
Yeah.
million?
forgiveness.
Okay.
I think I can double check with Brad on Thursday and give you all a scenario of what's gonna happen. I don't remember from the last one, Marty Wright handled all of that then at that time when this building was built and the old, well, we went with LCD when the old building was built. But this one, I think Marty Wright handled it, and the trust department, he seems to respond. I'll have to check with Brad. See
I'm
how-
pretty sure with the bond, it was not a construction loan.
I don't
So
think
do we get the $1 million and then,
Yes,
Start paying on it right away.
yeah.
Yes.
It's yours to do.
That's why Brenda held held us off until we actually started construction to then go for the bond and
Yeah,
all
till
that,
we knew
because
what our
you could do
figures
it now,
were.
but you're gonna start paying on the bond the minute you get it.
Right.
And it's like, why do that if you don't have ground to break and anything like that until it actually happens and is approved? So, yes, I do remember her saying, yeah, you don't wanna do it until you actually have the project approved
Right.
and you start.
So you need to know if we're gonna do 10-year, 15-year, 20-year as well, correct?
Well, I mean, in theory, if there's no penalty, no prepayment penalty, you know, you can go for the 20 and pay it down quicker. Yeah, the interest rate's a little bit lower on the 15.
It looks like you're paying 117,931 and 94 cents on the 10-year.
So you kind of threw me out
Per year?
You threw me out of my game a little bit, because I
And then it's 85,658, 52 per year on a 15, and 70,000 for the, basically for the 20-year.
Yeah, so here comes the 10-year plan, because I was gonna talk about this when we first brought up, but I just want to go through this now to play a part in this. So this is, we'll probably have you back up, Mike, but thank you. This is the 10-year plan of when I started here, and it goes through 2025. So you'll see at the top, the second line down will be vehicles. And you see the next thing that even gets replaced is 2021, potential for 2022, the smaller battalion vehicles. The tankers, the next one really in 2024, which will go for a AFG grant on that. So with that, I did calculate, which is not on your sheet, 'cause I did it this afternoon. So the next big things to replace is Medic 141, that's in 2026. Rescue 141, that's in 2026 or some in that time frame. These will be 20-year-old vehicles then when they hit their 20-year mark. Engine 142 is 2032, and engine 141 is 2037. So there's not a lot of large capital projects going out for the next many years to say, you know, the fire levy continues to just do a renewal at the current rate, then that, with the payments that are here, would easily be feasible at either the 15 or even the 20. Potentially if you look at 2020, because I just want to bring 2020 to you. Yes, the fire levy. Connie and I found out from Mike Stein the fire levy will do a renewal, no increase. So there'll be a renewal of the levy in 2020 in November. But the only cost it really goes down that is the 800 radios if they really do stop working in 2020. And we were in that grant, so we only paid 10,000 of 130,000 of our share. We're only going to pay 10,000 of that. So there's really, unless there's some unforeseen cost here, from 2020 to 2025 in the next 5 years, there's no large outlying capital project cost.
So did you push, it's 2024, the push out for the tanker 141?
That's the push out from when it was supposed to be
It was
done.
supposed to be last year,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be last year. So we pushed it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more years with a new pump. Yes. Yep. So yeah, this was supposed to lead before Branstad Carroll to see that there's no large capital projects coming to where the payments out of the fire levy, out of account of Fund 2111 fire levy, would support the amortization schedules that LCMB did.
If we did the 20-year, we're looking at 2040 before it's done, unless we pay it off early.
Say that
For what
again,
interest?
Brett.
If we do the 20-year loan, we're looking at 2040 before that one's paid off.
Yes.
2040, yeah. I thought you were looking at interest. So
And-
70,886.32 a year.
While you're figuring that, I just give some more demographics. So the current station is basically centered in the township. And we've done all our, Jeff AC has done all our run history throughout where it's located center of the township. So to add on to this, to make it self-sufficient for the 4 now, and actually we planned ahead, so it now actually with the 5 bedrooms, it can expand to 5 people if it needed to. You really don't need to build another station because it's so centrally located in the entire township. If you know what I mean, instead of having to build another substation further out here because this one's not centrally located. This one is ideal for the location, to continue to invest in it, and then again plan for the future where it will house, eventually it could house 5 in future growth and future expansion of the township.
So we can do the 20, and if we got money, we can always pay it off early.
I believe that's what we were told the last time, but I would say that that would be a Lenore and an LCMB question to confirm that it's simple interest paid down, no penalties.
And when you make an extra payment like that, it's going to go to principal, correct, Lenora? Yes, it's,
Your interest will drop.
yes.
Okay.
So how long does it take to process the paperwork for the bond?
It should just take a matter of a couple of weeks. That was another thing. That just reminded me. If you went with a land lease, they have to come in and they have to do appraisals and things like that, and it would have taken another 7 to 10 weeks of appraisals and all that process. With Lenore, I'm assuming as soon as the bond is cleared and all that, then
Brenda would be the one to ask about that.
Okay.
Because she deals with that, and once she's prepared her paperwork, I believe she and Brad meet and set up the closing and that type of thing. But I'll double check with Brad on
Okay.
those things.
okay.
So if you think of anything else, you need to work, I'll have Thursday morning when I get this.
Okay.
We're going to wait for that input before we make a decision?
I'm thinking. So what all do we need to do if we choose to go with Empire? What's the process there?
Mike, that would be a Mike Prost. I mean, tonight you could approve the builder, and then we get the questions back on the financing part of it. But I think the builder, I think the contractor is cut and dry. I think
Yeah.
it's a cut and dry deal of
Yeah,
low bid, been vetted, and due diligence.
But if we
Yeah, the
approve if we approve the builder, does that commit us?
No,
Okay.
no, you don't, you're not committed till you sign a contract.
Okay.
Yeah, you
We're
could, you
just
could,
vetting out the other 5.
yeah, you could approve the bidder. Actually, I was sitting there going, free advice is worth just what you pay for it, nothing. So I was going, you could approve it contingent upon getting that done and working out the way you want to, and then you're free to go. And we could get depending on your first payment let me answer your question first. All we have to really do is prepare the contract and execute it. And that's, that's a matter of a couple of days. Set up a pre-construction meeting and give the contractor the authorization to proceed. You would not be receiving any bills from the contractor for at least 30 days after the execution of the contract. We typically have them bill you at the end of each month
So how much more are we have in debt to you, Branstead or Carroll, to get this project complete?
I think 20% of, 25% of our fee, it's all, you've already paid the vast majority of it.
Okay.
I can't tell you in numbers what that is.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just because we
Yeah.
got to add that in there too.
Yeah, we'll be here on a weekly basis during the construction period to monitor construction, but you've already paid us for the bulk of the work.
Okay.
So what do you guys think? Go ahead and approve this?
I think we approve contingent on the information that we're going to be receiving from the bank, and that the 20-year with an option to repay early with no interest or no penalty, and ability to pay principal prior to paying interest. I think that's pretty solid way forward.
I'll talk to Brad Thursday morning, and I'll have an answer to Jeff and Connie by the end of the day, I think, on our end. And obviously Brenda, I don't know about her.
Right.
Yeah, I'll,
What it entails, once she does that, to signing, you signing with us, and that type of thing.
so if we go by what Jeff just said, then I would contact Brenda and say, okay, this is what they've approved, this is the contingent now, where do we go, and what's your time frame to initiate the bond? So then
Correct.
Lenore and LCMB would know that time of when the bond's done, paperwork, to then LCMB inherits it, and then we'll know the answers to the no penalty payoffs, all in that same process.
So is that your motion?
I think we need to restate it, or the
Or just
more.
Do we want to put a
Just
contingency,
asking.
or should we just accept the bid from Empire Building Company as a motion, approve that, and then once we get all the details, instead of putting a contingency in this one, then come back and say, okay, now the financing, let's approve that.
That might be two motions, to
Yeah.
get one, the building, and then go with,
I think
and
it's
go
gonna
with
be-
the payments and the financing for what Jeff had said on the contingent. But you can
Tonight,
approve the
just
builder,
approve the
you can
builder.
approve the builder tonight, he's the low bidder, been vetted, and then we do a second motion on the financing and the contingents. That might be the better scenario.
Do you think you want to meet with Brenda and have Brad Rupert come out from the trust department, who's actually the guy who handles all of the public funds financing?
Can we do that next?
We can do that next week.
You'll let me, okay.
If we could do a pre-meeting next week, because I will
The
not,
next meeting?
well, I will not be here for the next meeting, so I would like to meet with them before that. And we can get all their scenarios together for the trustees to address with.
Just you, or how do you want to do that, or will you let me know about it?
Yeah, let me work on that, because it'd be great if I can bring Brenda here and we all meet together and have all the stuff ready to present to the board on the 24th or whatever the next Tuesday meeting is. Because that will be a meeting, I will be out of town the 22nd. So Lauren, if we could meet next week sometime, and I'll try and work with Brenda tomorrow, and then,
Say, shoot me an email, let me
Yep.
know what Brenda's schedule's like, and I'll.
Yep.
And I'll get with Brad and see what his schedule is.
I can make
like
that happen in the
next
morning.
week.
Yep,
You
and
want
make
to do
that.
it in the morning or the afternoon, what's your preference?
Mornings are usually my preference,
Okay,
so, but I'll let you know in the morning when I talk to Brenda,
sounds good.
and I'll give you some dates, so.
Chief, do we want the trustees involved in this meeting too?
We can, I mean, again, I will not be here on the 22nd, I'll be out of town, so if we want to do even a special meeting the night of the 15th, workshop or something like that, next Tuesday night.
Or maybe just the chairman of the board?
You'll
Or
be-
do you think you and I and Brad and Brenda can, get our questions answered and
and bring it back to the 3 trustees for the
Yeah.
22nd.
Yeah, I
That's
can do
probably,
that.
instead of dragging down a lot of time with
Yeah.
questions back and forth, that might be the better way. We just meet, Connie and myself meet with your folks, and I see if I can get Brenda there and get all the questions answered. So it's just basically on the 22nd, here's what we met at our meeting, here's the facts, boom, boom, boom. Here's the answers of, yes, there's no penalty payoffs, boom, boom, boom. The bond will take 3 weeks to initiate whatever, and they start right from there. And then we'll just have all the answers at 22nd for you.
Why don't you talk to Brenda and see what her schedule's like
Okay.
for next week tomorrow?
If you
Send me an email that I can get with
Make
Brenda
sure
and
you
see-
get me her contact so I can talk to her in the morning.
Pardon me?
Make sure I get Brenda's contact in the morning from you.
Brad's, you mean?
Brad. Oh, I thought you said Brenda. Okay.
No, Brad.
You
Brad.
have Brenda's contact, right?
I've got Brenda's
And
contact,
Brad
yes.
emailed you that, so.
Yeah, I have Brad. I thought you had said Brenda, and I didn't know. I thought there was a Brenda at your bank, so I'm sorry. I
There
apologize.
might be, but I don't know.
Okay.
When's the meeting going to take place?
I don't know yet. That's what we got to get everybody's schedules set.
And
So
see
it'll
when
be
they can meet.
it'll be one day next week.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be one day
Well,
next week.
how about I'll go ahead and I just kind of drafted up the motion. I'll just indicate the meeting to take place
The
week
week of the
ending-
14th.
week of
About the
14th.
week of the 14th, Jeff. Yeah.
All right. Okay,
Well, we probably don't need to do that motion until the next meeting. Once we got all those answers, we just need to approve the builder tonight.
that's what I'm going to do. I think the builder, we're going to approve the builder based on LCMB information concerning loan repayment, initiation of the bond.
No,
No.
that'll be
Forthcoming.
totally
No.
separate.
I would think we
The
would do
money
two separate. I think you would approve the builder tonight because it's a low bid. Branstad and Carroll's vetted that, and then come back with a second motion
2
on the
weeks.
financing contingent on LCMB's questions and all that on the financing and the
We
bond.
should have their answers then, so there shouldn't be any contingencies.
Right, exactly. But I think tonight you can officially approve the builder in one motion and then bring a second motion up to say, here is the loan and the bond according to the LCMB. And I guess you would say contingent on if it's no penalties, prepayments, or something of that nature. I don't know how you
I don't
would.
think
Or
we
we'll
need
do
to
that
do
at the
that
next
tonight.
Okay, all right. Well, definitely the building tonight, I would say, because
Yep.
the
Yes.
contractor tonight.
Did you want to do that one?
I'll draft, I got to put it to words together. Motion to approve the Empire Building Company as the builder of record for the firehouse expansion. Do we want, is it contingent, is there any contingency on this?
No.
Or is
No.
there,
No.
No,
make a motion to approve the Empire Building Company as the builder of record on the firehouse addition?
Second.
Mr. Kolb?
Do we,
Yes.
hold on, do we want to put the bid in now?
I would say probably
Yeah.
for record.
Yep.
So
Add the number.
add the number, that'd be for record.
852?
Yep.
Make a motion to accept Empire Building Company as the builder of record for the firehouse addition for a total construction bid of $852,000.
Okay, I'll second that.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for a lot of your hard work you put into this project as well. 3 years, at least.
Okay,
Oh,
no more. I guess we'll
let me
see you
tell you,
next
you're moving
meeting
over
as
here and I'm
well,
moving
or
over
will
there.
you be here for that too?
I don't know.
You don't know?
If you want me to come, I will. Try to make arrangements.
Alrighty. Anything else on this? If not, do we have anyone from the audience that has anything for tonight? If not, Mr. Galloway.
All right, again, trustees, I thank you for that. I know the firefighters will be very appreciative of it. They ask me about every day, how's the construction going? They see the plans, the prints. They just saw the design of the kitchen the other day, and so it'll be a great morale booster and a great addition to the station. I appreciate the three of you continuing on this project that's gone back and forth for several years, so I appreciate that. Okay, Township Administrator Report. The one item we have on tonight is the 2020 Butler County Community Development Grant. I have that completed. We filled out the application. We filled that, well, minus two things, but we filled out, I did the narrative. Rob got some great input from the engineer's office on that culvert has been rated a 4. 1 being the least and 4 being the worst, and they also deemed it an immediate replacement. So with that, we wrote in the narrative that it's a number 4 rated with an immediate replacement. So we wrote all that. So the only thing I'm waiting on is the final survey, so then I can calculate the low and moderate income scores on the one block. And then we'll have Desmond review it, make sure all that the T's are crossed and the I's dots, and then it'll be all ready to go. So it's 99% done until we get the finished surveys
We got
back
3
and all
more to
that.
do.
All but 3 are done.
Okay.
And if you can ask those questions of Desmond on those 3 particular circumstances, what
Yep.
to do, they are done. So
Okay.
I'll hand these on over to him.
Okay. I'll
All
take
30
those.
houses,
Okay, perfect.
multiple trips.
Rob did a great thing for the grant. He had already had the finances and the architectural drawings already, so we knew the exact price. And one of the questions that's in the grant was the architectural fees part of the price and not the township share for all the architectural designs, and that is part of the project. The cost has all the architect designs and drawings in it, so that's a great win for the township. So. So that's ready to go, and we'll just get the scores added up and then have Desmond review it, and then it's due November 6th. So I'm going to move over to, and somewhere I've lost my paper, on the fireside. After going through that, yeah, I'll take mine because I don't know where mine went. Okay, on the fireside, we've already kind of talked about Brandstetter Carroll. Oh, I just wanted to go back a second and ask the 3 trustees if you had any questions or concern on the 10-year plan. I'm going to push that out now, and we're going to eliminate 16, 17, 18, obviously, and push out 3 more years ahead. But what you'll have on there is what I kind of read already is when the replacements of some of the newer stuff. You're talking 12 years on a medic truck and then 20 on the engines and the other vehicles, to say we're like nowhere. The next ones are 2026 to 2037 for the replacement of the large vehicles. We brought to the board earlier this year about replacing the utility, which is what Chief Griffith uses. We're gonna let that rest for another year or so. And then the battalion, that's the buggy or the small escape. I think the trustees saw it during the open house, how that 2012 is considerably rusting out under the fender wells, which is a concern, but it's still slotted to be replaced in 2022. Those are smaller items, obviously, of vehicles versus large fire trucks. So with that, if you go across this here, really the next large capital project that is out there that I've identified is replacing the radios, and that's with that grant next year in 2020. We apply for the grant, the county fire chiefs apply for that grant in November, and then we'll hear something next year if we got that grant. So any questions about the 10-year plan going out and where we stand on anything like that? Obviously, when we get new hires, if we don't have gear that fits them, then we have to order new gear, but if we do and it fits them, then we just add that. We continue to push for the next all the way through 2025 to send 2 folks every year to the BERT training, the special operations training, which actually Lieutenant Browning's in here and he just completed it, the 6-week class, and then send 2 folks to the Swiftwater Tech class in South Bend, Indiana, which is like the top Swiftwater school, flood school in this country. So we'll continue to do that throughout the rest of the 10-year plan. So I just wanted to update that and show you where we're at on that plan. Okay, next, I got some answers, some final answers on the new squad. They are going to move over at no cost the striker, the stretcher system, and put the additional bench seat in the backrest for the safety issues. The chains, the snow chains, they're having an issue because everybody that installs those are about a month behind. So I talked to the Penn Care this afternoon, and they're going to go ahead and move the stretcher over and get the backrest in right away. Then we'll swap the radios out, and we will definitely have that thing in here in just probably 2 weeks to then get it graphicked and get it in service, and then they get the chains put on it at a later date when they're in.
Could you elaborate on what happened last week with
Yes.
the backup squad?
Be glad to. Be glad to. So as I've been saying in meetings, Medic 142, the 2008, has just been unreliable with that engine and the turbo. In the middle of a call last Thursday, the turbo blew, going to a call. They did make it to the call, and then Ross Township had to come and transport for us. Since Medic 141 was still up at Braun and Van Wert getting the new gel coats, the new gel shock system on the suspension system, we had no squad. So I think this is definitely the second time, possibly the third time that Ross has loaned us one of their spare squads. So we had to use the Ross squad through the weekend and just got Medic 141 back from Cronin because the AC went on it, and then some other issues came up on it. So it's back, and we now have a Morgan squad back up. But now the 2008, the one we're replacing, is sitting in Cronin getting a new turbo for the third time. So again, it's an undependable truck, and I just knew that it was going to happen again, and because the signs that were showing it did last Thursday. So so that's why I've asked Penn Care to kind of expedite getting this new squad down here. Republic First National sent us sent myself and Connie the credit app. We were approved. They've just rounded it at $217,000. That's 37, I think 3746, something like that for the change. But they're like, it's going to be less than 3,500, and we still haven't gotten to the point of negotiating that. But they did the loan up to, so we can get the credit approval and move forward. So. The last one that I have is you have in your packet, okay, a burn ban that is officially in place because it is so dry, but this is a standard thing that the ODNR, Ohio Department of Natural Resources, puts in every year under the Ohio Revised Code 1503.18. And they actually restrict a burning ban in the months of March, April, May, October, and November. So we received, I believe, only 0.2 of an inch from the rain the other day, so we are still in drought conditions, and the burn ban is on, so we have posted on our website and everything like that, and I just wanted to explain that today, for as well as the folks that listen to the live stream.
It's on the township website as well.
Perfect, excellent. Before AC does the reports, I have a PO for Vogel Pool. So we've had some major work that had to be done on the new engine that was already off of warranty. So I need a PO to Vogel Pool Fire for $1,454.48 for repairs to engine 141.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And then Connie, you want to do the Defender now or in your reports?
The what?
The boat. Want to do that in your report? Or?
Yeah, let's
Okay, so I've got that. So other than that, any questions from me before AC does the run reports?
Chief, what's the cost on that turbo when they put a new one in the unit?
It's about $3,000.
And when we get rid of that unit, what do you think that we're going to get out of that?
About $3,000. No, but that's, well, Braun, I mean, Penn Care offers $3,500 for the
But
truck.
you just put a $3,000 turbocharger in it.
The problem is because it's that 6.0 liter engine. So we're going to go on once we get the other squad totally in and in service, we're going to put on gov deals with a minimum, and AC and I haven't figured out what the minimum is.
I put feelers out to two private companies already that it'll be showing up. They've shown some interest, but I don't know at a price. But
Yeah.
two of the local, private ambulance companies, I've let them know that it's coming available.
Yeah.
For somebody who will buy it for that.
The private companies will buy it. We just have to, if you exclude the engine in it, the mileage on the vehicle, and then the condition of the box and the vehicle itself, even at an 08, we're trying to figure out what we can actually put on gov deals as that minimum, and then offer it to the private ambulance companies. So we're working at trying to find research of what ones of that nature with that engine have sold to other private ambulance companies, and we'll see.
All right.
Yes, but thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing else? I'll let Chief Griffith go with the September report.
One other thing before I start, we had to pick up the squad from Van Wert, and once again, we were short on people to do it because it got pushed so late in the evening. And Rob Brem did volunteer to go with one of our people that came off duty to get it, or we wouldn't have gotten it last Friday, to get it to Cronin to get it worked on for the next thing. Because the part it needed for the air conditioning could not be done in pin care. It had to be done exclusively at a Ford dealership. So I appreciate him dropping everything and going up there in late into Friday, bringing that squad back with somebody else, or it wouldn't have happened and we'd even be pushed back more. So those kind of things should be recognized, because he did not have to do that. It was past his tour, but he worked it out and made that happen for us. So I am appreciative of his efforts. He's always willing to, help us move equipment around and get to, wherever it needs to go. Rob's always willing to do that, and I appreciate it. I know Chief does too, but he should be recognized, because he's like, oh, don't say nothing. I said, no, I'm saying something because I appreciate it. And he never tells me no.
He went to Ross to bring theirs back.
Yeah,
that
he
day
took
too.
Ross
Connie,
back.
actually Connie, because we were up at the house trying to get the squad to the house and then get the medical and then wait for Ross. So actually Connie and Rob drove over to Ross to go pick up Ross's squad so we could get something right back in service. So,
And that allows us to keep our people in the township.
so thank you to Connie and Rob for going and get the other squad
we-
from Ross.
we
And
greatly-
thanking Ross for letting us use it.
Yes, because they actually had one of their squads
Yeah, they had to
already.
move- they had to move it around.
They had one of their squads scheduled to go for preventive maintenance and some stuff done on it. And because we had their spare squad, they actually backed their service date on their squad so we could keep theirs. So, yeah, that's the ally we have in Ross
Yeah, we
Township.
appreciate- And he insisted he can keep it later in the day so we weren't rushed. So we appreciate Chief Miller also. As far as run responses, we're up 47 for the year. We only transported one for Ross. Ross didn't transport any for us, but we trade one or two back and forth every month, and that's just how we get along with each other and by mutual aid. All the rest of those were either fire calls or not transports, but we only transported one in the month of September for Ross. No structure fires. That one was somebody else's we responded into Hamilton County for. And 26 EMS runs, 11 transports. And that's really it, unless you have questions for me.
Okay, that's it?
That's it.
All right, Mr. Brem's on vacation. Mr. Marshall?
All right, thank you.
500's coming.
Let me get down here to my, look here. All right, the first thing is, on my report is the third quarter zoning revenue summary. I did a total of, let us see, a total of 12 zoning certificates and 3 lot splits during that particular time. And that increased my revenue up from the 40-something that we did. I don't have that on there, but it's now at $5,932.20, which I balanced today with Connie. I felt so good about that.
To the penny.
Right.
To the penny, yes.
Right. As you can see, we've had 2 new home, new construction, no additions, 1 alteration. I forget exactly where it is. That could be it's not the business construction that's going on down at Okeana Marathon. So that is under the business construction piece there.
Hey, Dale, how did you get an odd number like 20 cents?
One of the, if you look up at the additions.
Right, the additions.
That's done by
870.
square feet, and I miscalculated probably because that's $100 plus 10 cents times the number of square feet. Okay? And so I rounded it off to 20 cents, and I shouldn't have. I should have just rounded it down.
Okay, all right.
All right, that was interesting, though, I thought, thank you. All right, in that respect. Second on the list, you have in your packet both a email and a letter concerning the property at 3687 Scott Avenue. If you will look on page 3 of the email that is there, you will see several of the responses from me. It's page 3, the one I want. I had that all worked out in my head. Yeah, page 3 is the one I want. Wait a minute. Yeah, page 3. You can begin to see what I have written, Ms. Nardiello. At this time, you weren't copied on that, but you were copied on some of the beginning of that and everything else as well. Then Ms. Nardiello took, as you can see, my response to her was on the 27th of August. She did not get back to me until exactly a month later on her answer. And she said she was sorry to have overlooked it. I got involved in that other cleanup, which is in St. Clair Township that she's working on. And that case is a little different from that one in St. Clair, our case is. And the forms and procedures we were to use would be different, all right? So, but since she doesn't think she hadn't heard from me after the email below, it is possible that this matter has resolved itself, and I wrote back, as you can see, no, the problem has not been resolved. But she further states also, this property was one of the properties around the county that we pulled from the October 3rd sheriff's sale in order to step back and work out the plan for each one. Okay? So the reason for her pulling it was that her and I assume the land bank or the prosecutors are working out the issues between with Nancy Nix and others involved within that sheriff's sale. And then to specifically answer my question, assuming that it's still a problem, you will be communicating with the owners of record as usual. Therefore, that is why I asked you in the first September meeting to do the resolution on making the tires junk and debris, okay? And based upon that, then I have the letter that I have addressed to the owner of the property asking for abatement and removal of refuge, debris, vegetation being noxious weeds, and used tires. The parcel is at 3687 Scott Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 45013. Parcel ID number G32 300 25 251 424. Mr. Resident, this is to formally notify that you, as the owner of record of the property located at 386, I thought I took that D out of there, guys. I thought I did anyway. Scott Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio, 450 is in violation of Ohio Revised Code, ORC 505.87. It will be enclosed for the abatement of noxious weeds, refuse, debris, and used tires. On September the 10th, 2019, the Morgan Township Board of Trustees resolved and declared the following. Resolution number 137, 2019 declares that the tires at 3687 Scott as junk or waste and products or health safety issues. Mr. Updike moved to declare that the tires at 3687 Scott as junk or waste products or health hazard issue. The owner of record is ordered to abate, control, and remove the noxious weeds and all of the used tires from the property. If this violation is not abated, controlled, removed, or provisions made for such, with notification being made to a trustee within 14 days, the Board of Trustees shall cause abatement, control, or removal of such nuisance through the employment for the necessary labor, material, service, and equipment to perform the task. It is the trustees' hopes that you will provide the necessary provisions to ensure this problem is corrected. Your cooperation will be appreciated. Trustees may be contacted if you have any questions or concerns. Respectfully, Morgan Township Trustees, and then your name is on the back. If there's anything you would like to change in there, improve, delete, add to, let me know at this point.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
This Mr. Terry Wilsey, is he the owner that is going to foreclosure on?
Yes. He is the owner of record on the auditor's site.
So why did it not go up for sale?
I'm not exactly sure, other than they're making other plans as to how to go about working.
I know a
out
lot
the
of
plan for
times
each
there will
one.
be a glitch in
There
a
could've-
bank or a turnover, and then it'll come
There
back
could
up
have been,
for.
but she didn't tell me that in terms of that, but there was some sort of problem there. I need to actually get back with her. and
So
I can-
where does it stand with the person that more or less was identified who was dumping these tires and said he was going to clean them up? if we
My
didn't
understanding
prosecute
is,
him?
my understanding, he's in the wind.
That's the last thing I seen on him too.
Oh, the one, okay.
Yes.
All right, so if this plate is going to go eventually up for sheriff's auction,
It probably will,
Probably.
yeah.
that means we're not going to get our money back. So where are we going to get the money to clean this up?
Well, I understand that, but we have to go through at least this part of the process, okay? I mean, I know that we're going to get to that point where we don't have the money, Tom.
Right.
It's, you know, and that's the catch-22 of all of this.
So it goes on
But-
sheriff's sale.
but I want
Our
to-
lien means nothing.
Right. I want to go ahead and go through the process, take us through the process, okay? We don't have to, we could end up not cleaning it up, all right? I mean, seriously, this is just a first notice to them. The first thing we had to do was do the resolution, now the first notice letter, so that we've made confirmation for Nancy, not Nancy, but Mary Ann, to proceed with me as we go through the rest of this. There are other options too. We could take them to court, area court, a few other things. Where we get the money, I don't know, all right, at this point. And I understand that, and it's the dilemma we have here.
It seems like the process was pulled back from Mary Ann's email, that she's stating that there's not a process for a statute for a hearing. And historically, we've advised that a hearing take place after notice has been confirmed. Other legal sources concur in this approach in
Right.
order that the constitutional due process rights of those parties with an interest in the property are not violated. So it sounds like it's deep in the weeds with her right now.
Right, right. I mean, you can read through all of the correspondence there. That is the entire correspondence starting back in August with her on this. But I would like to go ahead and at least get this particular letter sent out, all right? What we do after this, I have to throw my hands up. I mean, seriously, I dream about this at night, trust me.
I see you want to get it cleaned up, and I understand you want to get it cleaned up. I think that's the
But-
feel from the board as well.
Guys, if
My
we-
only problem is if he's giving that up to be turned back over and sold at sheriff's auction, I hate to say it, but he's gonna laugh at this.
That I don't know, okay? I don't know where it stands in terms of that, and I have been busy with a few other things and have not focused on this enough, I'm sure, in terms of this. But all I'm asking is that we have our ducks in a row here on what we do in terms of toward of getting this cleaned up. And our ducks in the row are the resolution, first notice, and final notice, and then what we do after that will rely on Mary Ann Nardiello and what they're doing. You understand that?
Yes.
Doesn't cost anything to send a letter.
Right.
I mean-
Well, $6.53 on the certified one, but
Well, okay.
I think my small little fund can handle it a little bit. That's all I'm doing, guys. I'm just legally binding to show Mary Ann that we have legally done what we needed to do in terms of the ORC up to this point.
I don't know how we can't do what you're saying. I don't know how we cannot take this action.
Right.
I just blow it off and walk away and not send the letter.
right? I
If
mean,
we're expecting the prosecutor's office to do something,
No.
and they're gonna say that
no.
we're gonna, we're
The
supposed to be.
prosecutors
Well,
will
if
be working with
Nardella's
us.
taking this to the court, she's gonna be doing something
No,
for us.
we would be taking it to the court. As a zoning administrator, I can take it to the court. Okay?
Well, then the letter's even more important then.
Right. Yeah, so we've got to have the ducks in a row so that if I step into a courtroom and everything with Mary Ann in them, because they would be doing prosecuting.
Your co-counsel?
My co-counsel. No, I'm not a lawyer, that's for sure. I'm just trying to follow the ORC so that we are legally and judiciously correct in terms of what we've done, in terms of notifying him, not getting any contact. If we don't get any contact, then to confirm it, another step would then be, since we didn't get contact, we publish it in a paper, which would cost a little bit because it would be a legal notice, but I mean, seriously, guys, I vent over this, and Teresa will tell you that. I vent over this quite a lot. It's just like, it won't hurt to sign the letter, this first letter. It really won't, okay? And between that time, once I've told Mary Ann that we've signed the first letter and it's sent out, it has to be you guys. It cannot be me, because the ORC says the Board of Trustees. It does not say the Township Zoning Administrator.
Well, I don't have a problem sending it. I just don't think it's gonna do a whole lot, but I
I
have
don't
no problem sending it.
I agree with you, Brett. I really do, but I'm just trying to keep us
I know.
judicially prudent here, all right?
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the letter as Dale had read it.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Do you have a official one you want signed?
I will go get it in a minute. I got it, I have it already. It's just not printed out. I was waiting for any changes you might have made. Let me do the last thing and then I'll go do that. As a side project to help myself besides doing all of this too, I found out that there are 22 recorded subdivisions in the A1 district here in Morgan Township. This is 16 of them here that I've already gone through and put in an Excel spreadsheet, and I have 5 more to go, or 6 more to go to finish that spreadsheet. But I do 1 or 2 worksheets a day, over a period of time, just in between calls and everything else, all right? But that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I'm gonna add a little onto yours. The property up there on State Line and Shonling Road, where she trimmed the bushes, I think I'm gonna go talk to her about trying to do the junk in her yard before we start the process on that.
Okay.
It's worked a little bit. At least they did trim the bushes. And see if I can't get anything good, and then maybe next meeting, if no results, we
do
start
the
going
same
there
thing.
with the letters.
Okay.
Because they did respond to the letters. Because it does look pretty bad. So if you guys have no objections.
Obviously, it was the US mail letter because I got the certified letter back.
Well, I had spoke to them, I think 3 times before we did the letter, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I will try that again if you guys have no objections.
I have no objections. It's within your jurisdiction too.
Any update on Mr. Trader on Bell Road?
No, have you seen any progress at passing by? I haven't either. I'm gonna have to look at Mr. Trader again and
None
give him a
whatsoever.
buzz and see, hey, Mr. Trader, what's going on?
All right.
All right, I'll be right
Nothing
back.
else?
If anything, he made it less stable.
Yeah, yeah,
The only thing holding it up is the junk inside.
yeah, he has, yeah.
All right. Ms. Reinhardt.
Okay. Number 1, approved transfer of $2,000 from Fund 2021-330-323, which is Repairs and Maintenance in the Road Department Fund, from Fund 2021-930-930 Contingencies.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved. Approve transfer of $17,726 to Fund 2111-220190, which is salaries, to Fund 2111-930, from Fund 2111-930-930, which is contingencies. We had taken firefighter salaries out of 2111 for a while because it's 2191, the EMS levy fund had gotten so low. And so until we got real estate tax money in, and that has, depleted it down below what I had estimated, and that's why I need this transfer.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion approved. Approved transfer of $146.81 to Fund 2281-230-213, which is the Medicare for withholdings, from Fund 2281-930-930 contingencies for Medicare withholding for payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Approve the transfer of $500 to Fund 1,123.59, which is other utilities, from Fund 1,110.312, which is auditing services, because I had extra, for summer fill of propane tanks. Premier has been doing summer fill prices for us, which is saving us about 20 cents a gallon. But I didn't have that in a line item anywhere because we had done the pre-purchase.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved. Approve PO to Clay Worden Electric Company, Inc. for $1,395 for repair of weather sirens.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
And just to let you know, those are all completely fixed, repaired. I just got the printout for the first Wednesday of October, and they both worked.
Operable.
Great. Approve PO to Cronin Ford for $3,000 for the repairs to Squad 141 that Chief had talked about a little while ago.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved. Approve PO to Beamer's Piggyback Sales and Service for $300 for further repairs to dump truck number 2. Their estimate, they found other things that needed to be repaired when they were painting the bed on that truck. And so Rob asked us to do a PO just to keep everything.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved. I'm going to go down to number 9 and then come back to 8. Okay, so the fire department, Captain Fons has been working, and he's received 2 grants for the purchase of rescue boats for the fire department. The grant amount that he has received is $4,895. They've found the boat that they want to purchase, but it can only be purchased with a credit card. And we've estimated the purchase price to be $5,300. As you recall, the credit limit for everyone is $5,000. So we need to temporarily increase his credit card limit, I'm going to say to $5,500 just to cover us, so that he can purchase that boat on his credit card, and then
the
I'll
one
lower it
rented.
back down.
Will that cover any other expenses that he might charge? Is that going to be enough
Yes.
temporarily?
Chief, how big a rowboat is this for $5,000?
Actually, it's an inflatable. It's a Zodiac. It's a Zodiac inflatable. We were looking at what's called an RDC. It's kind of like a banana boat, and it's used for ice rescue. And then when Captain Fons, Lieutenant Browning, Lieutenant Schroyer did some research, they found this Zodiac. I don't know if it's got the description on here, the Zodiac. But they found this it's a Zodiac inflatable boat with a pump that will do both water rescue, swift water, and ice. So we've captured all of it in the one boat for just a little over $5,000 instead of buying the one-dimensional boat that was $4,800 for just ice.
What kind of engine does that
No
have on
engine.
it? Do you motorize it? Is
Nope,
it strictly?
it's pulled back and forth with ropes and pulleys because there's no water in the township that would warrant a 20 horsepower motor because it's basically creeks and moving fast water. And they're all trained. We're trained to do the pulley and rope system to go back and forth. So we're not the Miami River or something like that where we need a motor. So there'll be no motor for it originally. It's basically a Zodiac, which you would see the inflatable Zodiacs that hold. I think it's rated to hold 6 to 8 people.
Yeah, they had some nice ones up in Columbus at the show. They're
It's
beautiful
that
boats.
boat. It would be one of those boats, inflatable boats like that. Exactly.
That's what we used in the military.
Yeah, because right now we have a rowboat through one-dimensional, and then we were going for, like I said, the ice RDC boat that's one-dimensional. This one gives us all of the rescues in one boat. And Captain Fawns did a outstanding job getting a Butler Rule grant and a Hanover grant through a Hanover organization. The Life Squad's got an organization grant they've done for years, so he got $4,985 on 2 different grants. So our difference is going to be just a couple $100.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
So what is temporary? 1 month?
No, temporary will be till the credit card purchase goes through, and then I'll take it back down. One-time thing.
payment.
Yeah, it's a one-time deal, yeah.
Okay.
All right, back to number 8. The reason that I'm doing this, and I also put my reports out on the table for everyone to see, I've been hearing rumors through the township concerning the finances of Morgan Township, which impacts me because that's my job. So I want to report the cash amounts that are currently showing in each fund as of all the payments being made today. The general fund, and again, these are cash amounts. The cash amount in the general fund is $287,857.21. The motor vehicle license tax has $20,761.81. Gasoline tax, $130,642.02. Road and Bridge has $96,018.99. Fire District has $1,144,764.70. The Special Levy Fund, which is the fire and EMS salaries, is $289,449.25. The permissive motor vehicle license tax has $24,672.91. In the ambulance and emergency medical fund has $138,006.12, which the total cash is $2,132,173.01. Now, as I've said in past meetings, most of this cash is already appropriated or allocated or committed, however you want to say it, to pay the bills for the remainder of the year. We also have to have carryover into 2020 for the first quarter of the year, because we don't get real estate tax until late March or April. So I've got to be able to pay bills and do payroll for the first quarter of 2020. That has to come for these cash funds. Except for the general fund, these monies in each fund cannot be transferred to any other fund. They can only be used for the uses allowed by the Ohio Revised Code. So in other words, the fire and EMS funds cannot be used to pave roads. This fact has been explained to the trustees and the department heads many times since I took office 3 years ago, and I know you've all heard me say it over and over ad nauseum in the meetings. If anyone ever has any questions about the state of the finances of our township, please call me, come in and see me. I want everybody, I'm very transparent. I try very hard to do things the exact way that they're supposed to be. And I want everybody to know, this is where we stand, and there's not a lot of extra money. What we get from the local government fund has went down and down and down. And so we're doing the best that we can with the funds that we have available, but I want to dispel the rumors so that everybody has the facts. And if you have a question, like I said, please call me, come see me, one or the other. I'll be happy to go over anything, show you whatever you want to see. This is all a matter of public record. I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
And I will say you do a very good job as well.
Thank you.
That's why you're running
Yeah. No, no one else was stupid enough to take the job.
I'm going to post this on the website. This was something that was shared by Roger Reynolds, the Butler County auditor. It shows the amount of funds that we receive from the state, each township, and just from 2010 to 2018. 2010, Morgan Township received $155,589.48.
Your bike's not
In
working.
2011, it's not on.
It's not working. You're not coming out.
Screen. Move it up a little bit.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, in 2011, it stayed pretty much constant, $155,559. 2012, it dropped to $103,575. 2013, it dropped to $80,066. 2014, it dropped to $79,209. And then in 2015, it went up a little bit to $84,118. Went down again in 2016 to $82,182. Went down again in 2017 to, went up a little bit to $90,841. And then in 2018, it went back down to $83,639. So in a nutshell, we've lost about $70,000 over the last 8 years from what we were getting from the state. And you know, costs have gone up. It costs more to pave a mile of road than it did in 2010. So that's where the money is. We're not hiding it. We just don't have it.
Plus the pipeline money is no longer coming in because they are in litigation. As long as they are in litigation, the pipeline does not have to pay. Now, whether that's 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Or wherever.
I know Kasich, they were supposed to get like a 1.8 or something percent. And
You
he
mean
tried to
Delaware?
get it 8.1, so they says, you know what, we'll take you to court. So all that is in litigation, so that money that we used to get as well is not even coming in at all. Now, if it goes and they win it where they don't have to pay, we get nothing. If they go into court and they finally settle, say 5 years down the road, and they will owe us back pay. But we don't have no idea what it is, and we don't count on it because it may never come. That's another thing with the money. Chief, did you want to go over any of them fire?
Well, I read the first one earlier, but so on our 2 levies, because if you'll hear me say we're appropriating one line item for something or another line item. So the levy that when the voters go to the voting booths and they read the actual levy and the verbiage, we have 2 levies. We have a fire levy and an EMS levy. So the fire levy, and I kind of read a little bit of it before, providing and maintaining fire apparatus, appliances, buildings, sites thereof, sources of water supply, materials thereof, establish and maintenance of fire alarms, telegraph, payment of permanent, part-time, and volunteer firefighters, firefighting operations, including the payment of firefighter employees, contributions under sections 7/4 revised code, and then or the purchase of ambulance equipment or provisions of ambulance, paramedic, or other emergency medical services operated by a fire department and firefighting company. So that's the fire levy, which is always the strongest one, where I can do the station and certain things like that. The EMS levy is pretty much the cut and dry one. It is for providing ambulance service, emergency medical service, or both at a rate of, and it gives the rate which we just upped. That is fairly dictated for salaries only. So I can't take the salary levy or the EMS levy and go buy something because it's not earmarked for salary. So we're regulated by 2 levies. So when you hear me say tonight for the building, we're going to use the fire levy because that identifies buildings in that. It doesn't identify an EMS levy. That's pretty much salary. So that's why on my end, kind of have to work and say, this is the fund we take money out of because the folks voted on that, and the verbiage and the language is what you vote on. So I can't just go take money out of one fund when it's not earmarked for that. So that's where it keeps me and Connie honest of which account we use stuff out of. The third account, which Connie read, the $138,0612, that's the EMS, that's the ambulance and emergency billing. So that's the one we bill. And I'm going to let Chief talk about that because I think this is very important, and we do this every once in a while and just refresh the township residents. But when we bill, that money comes in, And that buys all of our supplies, our medical supplies, our narcotics, our drugs, pays for our medical director and using his license, and it pays for that, basically that upkeep of the medic service, that we don't touch any of the other ones because of the billing. So that's how the 3 accounts work. But AC, would you explain how we bill and how we bill our residents, which is very unique actually?
Billing is done by, we pay a company 6.5% a year off the top to do our billing. They also handle our release of information and anything related to EMS services. We do not hard bill. When I refer to hard billing, that would be turning somebody over to collections for inability to pay. What every resident gets when they have an EMS run with Morgan Township, they get 3 bills, which they're instructed to throw away. It's just the way the law works. And then they get an inquiry from MediCount, our medical billing company, of who their insurance is. So if they have insurance, we bill their insurance, take what we get, and the rest gets written off. If we provide services to a out-of-township patient, it's the same way. We soft bill them. We don't turn them over to collections, because the collection rate on hard billing, after all the litigation and everything, at the most runs about 6%. So it's not worth the effort for 6% of very little, if you even get it, and that may be years down the line. So we soft bill, and if we go into Ross or we go anywhere else, we're only allowed legally by law to bill what that entity bills. So if we go to Riley Township, they would never get a bill, because Riley Township does not bill their citizens. So we could never bill anybody in Riley Township. If we go into Ross Township, we get what Ross bills at. If Ross comes here, they get what we bill at, which are all fairly similar, but we bill it at that rate. People get a bill for mileage to the hospital. We call that loaded miles, and they get a bill for based on the level of service, either basic life support or ALS 1 or 2, depending on how complicated the care is. And that's essentially what it is. There is never any out-of-pocket for anybody that we transport anywhere. And we use that money to buy supplies, like Chief says. We try to be good stewards of it. We account for every run. We double check every run, and we make sure that, provide any information we can get to get the most out of it. But it's, at the end of the day, it's, and those are going down and down and down. Insurance companies are getting smart, and they're decreasing the amount we get. Some runs we make, we only get about $88. And it costs us more in personnel to make a run than $88. So that is trending down, but we'll have to deal with it. Nothing we can do. We're just trying to make the best use, and that supplements the EMS levy and buys the supplies and things we might need.
So that just hopefully answers some of the funds that we have, and why, like tonight for the building, I earmark it for the one that the levy and the language reads when you go to the voting booths and you check and you read that language, hopefully, and read what it actually is earmarked for. So, because that has come up, and so I just wanted to clarify that, because people will ask me, why did you say Fund 2111, or why did you say? It's because that's what we're earmarked in our money to use the language for. So just wanted to clarify that and build off of what Connie was saying. So thanks.
And when we did the last EMS levy, Jeff and I had run the numbers multiple times, and we knew that it wasn't going to cover all of the salaries, but we didn't want to do a huge mill increase on our residents. And so we knew we had money in the fire fund that we could always pull salaries out of that, and we've done that a couple times in the last couple years. We're trying to be good stewards of the money, but also not put a great burden on our residents. But we have, in my opinion, and unfortunately we have used our services, my husband and I, at least 3 times. We have an excellent fire department and EMS, and we are very fortunate to have that in this small township, to have the caliber of people that we have, and I hope you all appreciate that, because we knew we had a good department, but with working all the behind the scenes things that the chief has done to make us better, and I think we're very fortunate to have the department that we have.
Anything else?
I need a second session for personnel.
You all know their trusts held during the after party. Notice that there is not a security camera. What I would like the trustees to do is just investigate and get the dollar amount that it would take to do that. 2 reasons. One, I don't like Connie here by herself. My husband's in here and he doesn't pay attention. I'd say I can't hear. But he does, but it's, you know, both so into their work that somebody can walk in on that. Maybe allow someone to come in. I wish some numbers. Okay.
And I would say Dale and I have started keeping the door locked so that and the door is no longer unlocked. And we talked about today, he's actually going to make a little sign to put on the door for security reasons. The door is locked. Please ring the doorbell and we will come let you in.
Okay.
So
I was just
yeah.
worried, and as a resident, I was worried.
For your information, the quote to add 1 camera on the exterior of the building is about $410.
410? Okay. And that would be with surveillance that somebody could look on their computer screen and see?
I don't think so.
If it's put on your
we
computer,
can-
you can pull
we
it
can
up,
do
because
it,
I can
yeah.
pull it up on my
Yeah,
phone.
we can put it on our phone.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I was just
yeah.
For your,
worried, and as a
It
resident.
has to be added into the computers and phones, but it can be done very easily. All right,
All right.
Mr. Cole?
Well, I just want to thank Connie for bringing that summary up, because I know not only the excellent job that you do for all this, but the misconception that a lot of people have about the money. That's just a second fight that you have to deal with all the time. So just kudos to you for publicizing this. I hope everybody in the township heard your summary on these numbers. So thank you for that. That's all I got.
Mr. Brocker?
I've covered everything I've had
All right.
as the topics came up.
I got 2 things. Let me do the second one first. I had a call from a Dale Bruner on Howard Road about a big dead oak tree. Mark and them was supposed to go see it today. I did not get a hold of him. And I'm supposed to go meet with him either tomorrow evening or Thursday evening to see about that. I do believe that's a Hamilton County side road that takes care of that, so I'll have to look into that. And I may have to wait for Rob to get the gentleman down there who it is, because I do not know, unless you know.
I don't know, other than I know that
I know
obviously
which-
half of Howard is Butler and half is Hamilton.
I know which house that is, and actually, Hamilton County took some of that tree down last year because it was infested with ants. So I think he's pushing for the whole tree to be removed now, so I think that's what you're gonna be asked about.
Probably. I haven't gone out there. I told him I would meet him there because I already had a obligation last night to meet him tonight, and he said that was no problem, so I'm going to meet with him. The other thing I got is the policy manual. I know you've been out of town a lot, but I'm hoping maybe when Rob gets back November, we can try to start picking up on that, because I think he needs to be here as well when we
Yes.
start doing that.
I
So
agree.
maybe
There's
the
a lot
next
that-
meeting, we can see when we can meet and start moving forward, and that'll give me more time to read it too, because I've been gone.
There's a lot that
lot as
addresses
well.
Rob and the road department in there, I
Yeah.
agree. And I think by then, we'll probably have our answer from Miami University about our new intern in that November timeframe, so.
Good. Everything else was covered. So unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, we're going to executive session.
Oh, you were correct. My bad. Sorry. I'll make a motion at 8:40 to go to executive session for personnel reasons.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.